That's the opening?
That's all we got.
Wow. All right. Well, here we are.
We're keeping it simple here. We'll get a little more complicated as we get into this a little bit more. This is Cinemaniacs. This is the night. This is a book club for movies. It's where we get together, talk about movies that we've watched, and maybe make some recommendations as well. This is the time for friends and family, and we consider everybody who's watching or listening our friends and family. My name's Eric. That's Dan.
Hi, everybody.
And if you're interested, you can actually watch us record this live and actually get yourself into the show if you go to EriDanShow.com to watch.
EriDanLive.com.
And EriDanLive.com to join in the action. So we record almost every Monday night, 8 o'clock Eastern, 5 o'clock Pacific time. And we would love to see you live, but we hope you enjoy the show because, we have a pretty good time, I think.
Yes, and each week we have a movie of the week, sometimes two movies if it's a double feature week, which is the first Monday of the month.
Correct.
And we have a crew of regular people that they suggest the movies. They come in, they talk about their movie. Sadly, this week, one of the guys that was the guy that picked this movie is busy working. So he will not be here to start off the show with us.
Poor planning, but that's all right. We're going to talk about the movie anyways, and we'll see if he joins in before we're done.
Yes.
And if not, we can make as much fun of him as we want because he's not here.
Right. And the show, by the way, only available exclusively on the EriDan channel on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch.
So you have options.
You can find it any of those three places, but only on the EriDan channels now.
That's correct. And you can leave messages in the chat too. We also mentioned that if you don't want to join live, but you want to watch live and make comments, you can do that on both Facebook and YouTube, I believe. Is that correct? And we'll see those?
Yes.
Yes. How about that?
Look at that. You can comment.
And on Twitch, apparently.
They all work. Look at that. You can comment. You can comment. You can comment. I'm sure.
There you go. So we hope you do. Tonight, we are going to be talking about this is the first time I've seen this movie.
Is it really?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
and
my.
And happens to be the last time.
Really?
I'm going to watch this movie. It's Tropic Thunder. Get some. Jack Black, Ben Stiller, Robert Downey Jr., and a host of other rather popular.
It's a star-studded cast.
It's a star-studded male cast.
Yes.
It's a very manly movie. It is a very manly movie. And this was chosen by our friend Scott, who normally would pop in and tell us why he chose this movie, but he's not here, so we can just speculate as to and also, he might be responsible to why apparently nobody else is showing up besides Dave. So we'll drag Dave into this conversation.
Well, Scott did give some clues last week when he picked the movie as to why he picked it.
Well, yeah, because he has terrible taste.
No, it was because he loves the way it spoofs Hollywood. That was what he pointed out. Is he loves the Hollywood poking fun of itself aspect of it. Then Ben Stiller sort of biting the hand that feeds him kind of thing.
At times I found there are moments that I absolutely enjoyed in this movie. Overall, this is exactly the kind of comedy I don't prefer. So there's definitely moments that made me cringe throughout this movie. And we'll get to that.
I will say, I do think some of the funniest parts of it occur in the first 5 minutes or so. The opening trailers, I think, are very well done.
I do agree with that, although I think I could have done with only 2 of them. By the third one, I was like, all right, I think I've had enough of the fake trailers, right? Like, if they would have jumped into it partway through the movie again.
There was the music video. Then there was the Scorcher.
Yep.
Then there was the
Robert Downey Jr.
The Kirk Lazarus one.
Yes.
Or was the Fatties? Fatties.
Oh, that's right. There was 4.
2. Yeah.
It was a lot. There was a lot.
Well,
but my excitement when Maria Menounos came on the screen.
I thought of you when I saw her.
I was like, finally, we bring in some A-list talent into this movie.
You and I are going to argue on this movie, I think.
Robert Downey Jr.
Really
is not A-list.
My wife laughed out loud a lot. I will say that. My wife had a great time watching this movie.
And did she enjoy your pain?
No, no, she really, I mean, at the end, she's like, that's a terrible movie, but she laughed the whole time.
If you view it, here's how I would describe it. If you view it as a standalone movie, if you view it in isolation, yeah, it ain't a great movie. I do love a lot of the Hollywood spoofs, though, and I love a lot of the over-the-top, full of themselves. I love the fact when they switched to the awards at the end, that one of the guys was in a wheelchair, one was blind. You know, it was the whole.
There were great jokes towards the end, right? Like there were quite a few things that I did find really laugh out loud funny for this movie.
Part of the movie too is it's the three amigos. That's the movie. It's the same storyline in a way. There are three actors. They go out into they're confused.
Have you seen Three Amigos?
They think they're making a movie. Yeah.
They think they're real people, and they go out and they end up involved, and they think it's part of a show. It's a very similar storyline.
There's at least a hint. There's some overlap.
I think typically you're right. There is things that make fun of Hollywood and things that are very inside Hollywood don't always do well.
Well, and to me, it wasn't those jokes that bothered me, right? Like that wasn't the part that I took away from. It's more like, okay, so the director explodes. I appreciated that quite a lot. I did not see that coming, right? I thought that was hilarious. But then the extended scene of Ben Stiller licking the head of the director.
It's close here. It tastes just like blood.
Did you watch the director's cut or the theatrical version?
The theatrical vertion.
I watched.
So did I.
Purposely. Yes. You know, but to me that stuff went on a little too long. Like I don't like the gross out humor. I don't appreciate the oh my gosh, I can't believe he's doing that kind of jokes. Like that's not my favorite part of a movie.
You're not into cringe.
I'm not in for cringe. Exactly. Right. That's a good way to say it. You know, and there's just moments, but there were also great moments. Like when the special effects person says, hey, I almost blinded Jamie Lee Curtis on the set of Freaky Friday.
Yes. Well, Danny McBride has some great lines in this. He really does.
I also love, Robert Downey Jr. is actually nominated for an Oscar for this.
Which is absolutely insane.
And there's so much of this movie you can't do now. You probably couldn't do then.
You would have a harder time getting a distribution deal.
Yeah.
You would have a harder time getting financing, but you could still make it. I mean, that's the key. You just have to find someone willing to fund it.
Yeah. Or would people be willing to go, or would Robert Downey Jr. get canceled for doing blackface?
Well, he would just go straight to streaming.
Yeah.
This would probably not go to theaters. I agree with that. Which means you probably could not afford the same level of cast.
It would have to be somebody at the level of a Robert Downey Jr. at this point in his career who could pull off still doing that. Right. But if it was, some lesser known person, you're right. They'd probably absolutely get canceled for attempting something like that.
Well, and Ben Stiller has been, there were two main controversies, if you want to call them that, around this movie. One was the blackface, and the other was the whole retard sequence and that whole section.
Yeah, and they knew what they were doing.
Oh, absolutely.
They only
it was deliberate poke at Hollywood for the whole Forrest Gump, the handicapped or mentally deficient or learning disability or physical disability getting a bump at the Oscars and being Oscar darlings.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
The R word, the N word. There's so many things that,
I have weird trouble with the R word because well, she's passed away now, but I had a sister who suffered from meningitis when she was quite young, and she suffered significant brain damage, and she had a vocabulary of about 8 words for the rest of her life. And it was never, we called her mentally retarded. We called her that her entire life. That's what I grew up with. And that was what their family, who loved her dearly, called her.
Mhm.
So I've never, no, it can be used in a very negative way. Absolutely. But the word by itself is not, it's not
Right.
Voldemort,
Well, right.
I don't care.
That goes to when you have like something you want to slow down, they say you want to retard it.
Mhm.
Like that's the
That's the
actual
original
word
meaning.
for
Yeah.
it. Right.
Mhm.
Yes.
And it's just weird when there are certain words like master bedroom, people don't want to say anymore because they think it alludes to slavery. I'm like,
Well, it used to be we're
can you say
getting,
master lock?
getting to the computer area. Often you work on various lines of development. You have your current version you're working on, and you're also working ahead for the next version you're going to release and things like that. And you would often call the main one you're working on the master branch.
Right.
Right.
We call it baseline now. They've changed the name
Yeah.
because people could take offense at it. I
Right.
don't mind that. I find it a little silly, but I don't mind it. If it bothers someone, it's no harm to me to change what I call it.
Right. Speaking of baseline.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, speaking of your master.
Speaking of your slave.
Okay, if you're the master, who's the
Oh.
commander?
Slaves don't
And
get paid.
slave comes from the word Slav for the whitest people in the world from Russia over the last 2,000 years. Just saying.
Well, the other thing is too, I mean, aren't hard drives master drive and slave drive?
That's
Well,
right.
that's what they used to be called, but that was back in the IDE days, which nobody uses anymore. So you would not see that again.
Right.
Currently
Now you've
used.
got B drive, C drive, D drive, E drive, Z drive.
Well, you've got SATA, which doesn't use master and slave. So yeah, I mean, I get it. But way back, this was back in the 90s. We were doing contract work for a company, and we had a program that started a bunch of other programs to run in the background. And if you wanted to stop them running because you'd changed your mind, we had an abort button, and we got a request from the customer to change that. They didn't want us to use the word abort, and they were the customer, so of course we changed it. But
Right,
it's not something all that new. I think it's gotten worse. I do agree, but there's always been some people who've had a sensitivity to the way certain words can be viewed, the way certain words can be used as weapons by people that are ignorant. So
Right.
I do get it.
Right.
And what I like about in this movie, in my opinion, it's similar to the comedian Lisa Lampanelli. Like she offended everybody, therefore she offended nobody.
Well, or Don Rickles. I mean,
or Don Rickles.
That's true.
It's like, I remember I took a class once, and this person beside me was highlighting every single word in her book. I'm like, when you highlight everything, you highlight nothing.
Yes.
So it's similar. When you offend everyone, you offend no one.
My favorite Don Rickles stories is because he and Bob Newhart were incredibly close friends.
Yes.
And in the early days of their friendship, he'd be like meeting him at a restaurant in Vegas. And the two of them and their wives would sit down and have a beautiful dinner, just having an absolute wonderful time together. And Don's time for his show would get up. He would literally get up, walk up on stage, and start insulting Bob Newhart directly from the stage. About, hey, the moron who's sitting over in the corner. I mean, just that was his shtick. And nobody took it personally. Well, almost nobody. I'm sure there were always some who would. But the whole point of the movie, too, is the context.
Yeah.
If you're using words that are harmful to some people or offensive to some people because you want to harm them, that's bad. If you're using them out of ignorance because you don't like to view them as harmful, I get why people would be bothered by that. This is deliberately poking fun at the hypocrisy of Hollywood and at how they will use anything to promote themselves, even if it's on the back of people with learning disabilities.
Right.
So,
and it clearly hasn't hurt. It didn't hurt the overall ratings. As far as Rotten Tomatoes goes, I mean, the critics gave it an 82. The audience score is down to a 71. Mm-hmm. So I do wonder about how long. I wonder if that score will continue to drop over time from the audience.
I think a lot of that score comes from people who have not seen the movie and have simply seen people complain about it. People
That's
who
certainly
want to get offended.
Yeah.
So Scott,
I mean, we live in an era where people will just completely download episodes of The Acolyte or Snow White before they even come out. So it would not surprise me.
It's like the religious people that got upset by Life of Brian. Which,
right.
I mean, I'm a Christian. I go to choir every Sunday. I was not offended in the slightest by Life of Brian. I thought it was hysterical. And in fact, when Christ was on screen, he was treated very respectfully. I mean, it's so bizarre that anybody would take offense at that, but people are often looking for offense, and I do get that.
Sure. I wasn't offended. I just think it's hot garbage.
Oh, I know you weren't a fan.
What has Life of Brian ever done for Eric?
No. I mean this movie. I mean Tropic Thunder.
You think it's hot garbage?
Well, no, it's lukewarm garbage. I apologize.
Why on earth would you think that?
No, this is just not my kind of humor. This is
Eric hates gross out humor like
Well, we lost all the blood, didn't we?
I mean, honestly, the eating of the blood. We talked about this before you joined. Him with the director's severed head. That scene went along a little bit too long for me. But there is a lot of clever humor in this movie, but it is not what's in the forefront. You know, what's in the forefront is Ben Stiller's biceps. I mean, come on. They got ripped. I mean, you can say whatever you want about it being a comedy. He clearly was trying to line him up for some action movies after this. Like,
you know what? For all the talk we get about Ben Stiller's body and the bad movies that he has done, he was in much better shape and had a much better performance of that Marlon Brando part in Apocalypse Now, who we all know was super fat during that scene. They had to cover him up in the shadows. Ben Stiller was a heck of a lot more like what that character was supposed to be.
Yeah, Brando was notorious for not going out of his way, shall we say, physically to prepare for a role. He would prepare mentally, but physically, no.
Yeah. But how awesome was Tom Cruise?
Oh, I hated Tom Cruise in this.
I like the movie. I'm like Eric. I like the movie, but I was not that big a fan of Tom Cruise.
No, I thought Tom Cruise was
so over the top.
That was my least favorite part of the whole movie. Was Tom?
It was so over the top that it very quickly stopped being funny to me.
He was purposely doing Scott Rudin and Harvey Weinstein.
I get it.
And when he took the role, he said, "I need to have fat hands." That was his thing. He had to have fat hands.
It wasn't that I didn't like Tom Cruise's character. I liked that he would have been a lot funnier if he had been on screen for about 2 minutes total. I would have probably laughed hysterically at him for that 2 minutes. He was on way too much because it was the same joke. Yeah. It was the same joke every moment he was on screen, I should say. And that was, so I didn't hate him for it, but I didn't care for that character really.
Well, I originally saw this in the theater. And my memory was I didn't realize it was Tom Cruise right away. Like I remember watching it going, who is that? Who is? And watching it now, I'm like, oh, it's obviously Tom Cruise.
You're older and wiser.
Yeah. Oh, we lost Scott. Scott is driving from work, so
yes,
he may come and go.
He's going through a bad cell zone. So
now I will say, the funniest moment to me in this entire thing was, they set up with the one guy in the forest talking about Lance. Right?
Sorry, Tom Cruise cut me off.
There you go.
He has all the power.
My favorite bit in the entire movie was when the guy in the forest, and they're all talking about, lost loves or whatever. He mentions Lance. And then at the award show, he's sitting next to Lance Bass. Is the best payoff of a joke ever, because they don't say anything. You just have to be paying attention. It's awesome. And it's like, that just cracked me up. Like
I also did really like the interactions between Kirk Lazarus in blackface and the real black guy on the cast. I thought their interactions were actually very funny and felt very real. I think a lot of those were improvised, and I think they worked really well.
Yes.
I think the one thing I was missing that does affect my opinion of the movie was that the ending needed to have the Oscar speech, the parody of the Oscar speech, because the award was what everything was all about. And we did not get that. We didn't get, Ben Stiller doing an Adrian Brody and kissing Kirk Lazarus when he came up to get the trophy. Like something of the like that would have pushed this movie just a little bit more to show again, hey, Oscar audience, we are making fun of you. Hey, Hollywood, we are making fun of you. Instead, he gets the award and he goes straight back to Tom Cruise. And if you saw the director's cut, you already saw him dance once. Why are you seeing him dance twice?
Yeah. I didn't watch the director's cut, so
the director's cut takes itself a little bit too seriously. It tries to be a bit more Apocalypse Now.
That's what I read online. There were mixed views, as I said in the chat. There were mixed views. There were some people that said this movie is hysterical. Getting an extra 15 minutes of it is absolutely 15 minutes more joy. And there are other people that said it ruined the flow of the movie for them. and that they just didn't feel like it worked as well. So I just decided to stick to the theatrical.
I'm glad I went with the theatrical release, because
the director's cut was kind of like that scene in National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation when everyone's falling asleep. They're playing Silent Night for about a minute and a half. You're like, I know the song. We're going to get some really slow comedic gags, and it's going to be okay because it's 1988. And this is kind of like, come on, we got to get the rest of the movie.
I mean, for me, it all came down to one scene, which was Half Squad.
Oh, that was amazing.
Oh.
That was interesting.
Wow, Scott's got some auto-tune going on there.
Auto-tune the EriDan.
Your connection went a little wonky there, Scott.
Eric's never had not his kid attacking the back of his head before. As a dance teacher, at least 4 times.
That's hilarious.
I
definitely laugh out loud moments, for this movie.
I did like Matthew McConaughey.
I totally get it.
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely.
That according to Wikipedia or to IMDb, going through the trivia, Owen Wilson was supposed to do that part, but he had attempted suicide right before.
I remembered his attempt at suicide. Yeah.
And so they recast Matthew McConaughey instead. I thought he did a great job.
Yeah. And they could. Yeah, I think either one of them could have done that. I could see. Owen
you could swap those out either way.
Yeah.
And Kirk Lazarus was written as Irish, but it was changed to Australian because Robert Downey Jr. is like, I can do Australian better.
That man is a national treasure.
Yeah.
Watch yourself, boy.
He did when it comes to acting, he really did an amazing job.
Oh, yes.
Oh, and
absolutely.
And that's one of the other things I really did like is spoofing the extreme method actor aspect of Hollywood. Your Daniel Day-Lewis type of actor. And Daniel Day-Lewis is a brilliant actor. He's not like a hack, but the need, it's sort of like, I remember the quote from Tim Burton's Batman when Jack Nicholson was talking to Michael Keaton. And he said, "Let the costume do the acting, kid."
Amazing impression, Dave.
Adam, I want to answer Adam. I tried to send it, but it won't work.
I have to say something really quickly, though, because it's super ironic they were making fun of method actors because the method actor won the supporting Oscar that year. And he died doing it. So, point proven.
Adam said, hey, are you guys not on YouTube? Yes, we're on the EriDan show page on YouTube. We're not on the Dan Rosenberg page. We're only going to be on EriDan pages, just like Caryata will only be on Caryata pages.
Hey.
And it almost like it makes sense somehow.
Yes.
Really makes sense.
So yeah, but he found us on Twitch. So
he found us on Twitch. Adam, I had no idea you were on Twitch.
How about that?
If you look at all the broad strokes that they did in this, you had the stroke against the method actor. You had the stroke against the, piggybacking off of people's mental issues to try to, win an Oscar. You had the whole
super closeted guy who was incredibly insecure and had to go the opposite direction.
Exactly. The Eddie Murphy as the Clumps obvious reference with the fart or the fatties,
Yeah.
Right.
And so it's not all going to hit. And I accept that. For example, I really didn't take that much laughter from Jack Black's character.
No, I thought
he was probably the least funny of the main cast.
Yes, I think this is probably the weakest Jack Black film.
Before Minecraft?
Before Biodome?
Yeah, there's that. I mean, as far as a movie where Jack Black gets like, I'd rather watch Shallow Hal.
Wow.
I'm just mad.
Wow, that's a slam there.
Yeah, he was kind of in there just to be. We had to have an actor who has a drug problem. We had to have a comedian with a drug problem who's overweight, like Chris Farley.
Yep.
Yeah, and again, I think that's the biggest problem with this movie is that it's a comedy, and comedy is the fastest thing to age, especially in the age of the internet, where now you couldn't say things this year that you said last year.
I'm trying to remember. I did not see this in theaters.
2008.
I probably saw it within 5 or so years of it coming out in theaters. I saw it at some point, some other venue. I don't remember if we rented a DVD or what it was.
Yeah, I definitely saw it in the theater. I remember going and I remember enjoying it. And because I love the behind the scenes Hollywood and the making fun of Hollywood stuff. Typically, it does not do well at the box office. This one did.
Well, I liked being, what were they, 2 months behind schedule, 1 week into filming?
Yeah.
Dan, did you already say this movie is Three Amigos?
Yes, I already brought that up.
Yeah.
Eric did not understand my reference.
No, I it's like that for like 5 minutes.
Well, just the idea that they're the reality of who they are and their characters mixed into reality.
Well, I told Dan this too, was that if Three Amigos was trying to do that 80s thing where they were trying to bring back 30s screwball comedies, this is trying to be a 90s movie with a bunch of guys who got successful in the 90s.
Now, so this movie cost $92 million to make and grossed $110,
which is basically a failure.
Right? So
it's not a bomb, but it's a failure.
Kind of broke even.
Yeah.
Right.
What did it end up making, like through DVD and stream? I mean, it's made some money.
They made $4 extra on DVD.
Okay.
they sent Ben Stiller a gift card to Bed Bath and Beyond.
Exactly.
But I need to know: does booty sweat taste like Prime?
Nice.
I did like Booty Sweat and Bust. I love the product placement. That was another fun one. Another little, in reference. Him having literally cans of Booty Sweat on the set that he would pull out and drink.
That's so wrong. So the production budget was $90 million. Worldwide box office is 2.1 times the production budget. So they doubled their money.
Okay.
No, so there you go. Overall, they did just fine.
Well, it is. There has been talk multiple times of a sequel, but I think the chances of it happening now are nil.
I would probably agree with that.
Tropic Thunder,
yes.
Did anyone watch the YouTube video that I posted the link to?
I have not yet.
I did not need 30 more minutes of this.
It's very different, but it's a very different feel to it. It's like if they had a documentary filmmaker on the set of Tropic Thunder, sort of to film the making of for a DVD extra, and this is the footage he captured. So it's actually kind of fun.
You mean like what the movie Tropic Thunder was supposed to be?
Yes.
Behind the scenes. Wow, look at this. Adam and I agree. Adam in the comments. Tropic Thunder wasn't just that funny. I can't stand Jack Black, and they didn't find Ben Stiller funny at all. Well, I don't know if I go
Ben
that
Stiller was
far,
okay.
But...
Yeah, I thought Ben Stiller was okay. His extreme level of stupidity, where he just doesn't realize this is real. Went on a little long.
As it does in Zoolander, as it does in Mystery Men, as it does with almost every Ben Stiller movie.
The thing where you realize everything is happening super quickly is actually Night in the Museum.
Yeah,
that's true.
That's true. That's very, very true, actually.
And I did like
Sorry, guys, I can understand.
Tug Speedman as an action star. That's good. Oh, and also Stiller is pretty good in. He did at least one Wes Anderson movie. Was he in the Royal Tenenbaums?
I think I think Ben Stiller can be a good actor, but I think a lot of his lead roles.
So you guys didn't like the Tom Cruise thing. See, I love the Tom Cruise thing.
I love the Tom Cruise thing. I thought
the comedy is fantastic.
I might have liked it in 2008.
I thought he is unintentionally the best part of the movie for me.
See, I liked it, but again, it was at least 10 times longer than it needed to be for me. It was one joke for 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And I needed it to be one joke for 1.5 to 2 minutes.
Well, I also love the Get Me My Diet Coke. It was so, shall we say, former presidential. The guy who had a button to get a Diet Coke.
Well, exactly, Dan. He had the reverse Trump.
Yeah. True. Big hands,
yeah,
no
how
hair.
confident do you need to be to show off the fact that you're bald and still have hair? It doesn't matter. You are that good at your job. That's all that matters.
We haven't even mentioned Nick Nolte yet.
Oh,
no, we haven't.
Or
That's
Bill
right.
Hader.
Who Nick Nolte wasn't great, but he was fun in this.
Yes. He became fun once his hands came into the shot.
Yes, when When he realized he was a fraud, yes.
Bill Hader does that puppet thing on SNL where he's a Vietnam vet and he's got the puppet. I feel like he was doing the Nick Nolte character.
Very possibly.
That is possible.
Oh, it got out to Nam. Shut up. I don't want to hear
I
about
did
it.
like, only 4 of them made it back. 3 of them wrote books. 2 of them got published. Only 1 of them landed a movie deal.
I was glad that they incorporated so much music that you would typically hear in any Vietnam War movie.
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Right.
Run Through the Jungle. Yeah.
They were pulling on so many of those. They were hitting those notes.
Yes, they were. I agree.
Which I just thought that was great. Being a big
And
fan,
that was probably a fairly decent chunk of the budget getting rights to all this.
Yeah, that's probably true. So yeah, so I did enjoy a lot of the music that they used from that era. I thought that
becomes even more prevalent in the director's cut too.
So this came out the same year as Iron Man, huh?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Iron Man came out in
interesting.
May, and this came out in August.
I'm sure that helped.
That may have helped the box office. It was 3 months after Iron Man came out.
Yeah, imagine if Iron Man was not the hit it was. How crappy this movie probably would have done.
Well, imagine if RDJ was Black Panther.
Yeah.
Well, it reminds me of when Splash hit it big, which was sort of the first thing, unless you count Bosom Buddies, it was sort of the first thing a lot of people really noticed Tom Hanks in, or Big, one or the other. I don't remember which one came out first. And there was another studio that had a Tom Hanks film in the can that was not a good movie. And they immediately rushed it out to capitalize, which was, of course,
The Man with
Bachelor
One
Party.
Red Suit?
No, Bachelor Party.
Oh, come on. How do you rip on Bachelor Party?
Oh, it's easy. It's not a good movie.
I haven't seen Bachelor Party for a very long time.
But this isn't the case of that. I'm sure this was a high enough budget that this was slotted in months and months ahead of time in the release schedule. But still, very good timing for Ben Stiller.
Mm-hmm.
Did we do Revenge of the Nerds yet?
No.
Yeah.
We have not done a single Curtis Armstrong movie. Can you believe it?
Wow. You guys have done Howard the Duck before a Curtis Armstrong movie?
we got to say hi to Night is Here. Look at that. We have a new subscriber right there on YouTube.
Hey!
Fantastic Batman avatar. That's fantastic. That's awesome. He's the Dark Knight.
What was the name of the game show hosted by Curtis Armstrong and whoever was the other lead in Revenge of the Nerds? Was it King of the Nerds?
Yes.
Was that the name of the game show? And the funnest thing about it was you were aspiring to win your spot on the throne of games.
So is Yu-Gi-Oh?
Throne of Gangs.
That's a My Generation joke. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I guess so.
We're old men. What's wrong with you, Scott? You're talking to a bunch of old men here.
What, you guys never played card games for kids?
My kids played Yu-Gi-Oh.
Okay.
Now, I will say, none of our Scott's younger, but none of our other younger participants or any of the women have joined into this conversation.
No, man. Well, Amanda has conflict this week, and I think for the next couple. She had a really busy schedule for September.
I think any movie where you slaughter a panda, you have to question.
I enjoyed that, though.
Tell us more.
No, it was because after the whole back cover of Vogue magazine with him, and then him being attacked and realizing it was a panda. And of course, when they pan back, it is such a non-realistic looking panda. It looks so cheesy.
It felt like I was watching the extreme version of the Nikocado avocado reveal that happened on Saturday.
So what now?
Okay. There's a super fat YouTuber who kept it secret that he had actually been losing all the weight over the last 2 years.
Yes.
Yeah, and he did the video with the panda head on, and he acted like a villain, like he was dark and he had lost it.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, it's Ben Stiller in Tropic Thunder.
That's a deep cut.
And Stiller going all, method almost himself, where he's going to stay in the jungle and perform as Simple Sam or whatever it was for the rest of his life.
I'm glad that none of us have done the impression of Simple Sam on this stream because we know that we're live.
No, but I thought it was funny that Maria Menounos did a little sort of a little stutter when she did her announcement of Simple Jack, which I thought was just wrong, but awesome.
Was that what his name was? Simple Jack?
Simple Jack.
Okay.
Yep.
He
Absolutely.
went full.
Remember, you guys put Forrest Gump at the top of the EriDan Film Festival when we were still doing ratings.
That's a great movie.
I know.
Well,
It's also Simple Jack.
it's not Simple Jack. He was only partial. He was
It's only
still,
part-
he met Nixon. He was able
I
to play
listened to the
ping-pong.
bits.
My
Rain Man was a
Crazy.
card counter.
Dan's going to do the full RDJ now.
Yeah.
So Adam is in the comments, and Adam has been selected, or I believe selected himself, or volunteered to choose our movie for next week. I believe so. If Adam
If
sometimes
he doesn't have one,
wants to
my
shoot-
mom
Oh.
watched a movie that she thinks she would love to recommend, but she doesn't have access to the sheet. So I was going to put her on the sheet, or I might use this movie for.
Well, yeah, we'll give Adam a moment or two to see if he's going to tell us what he has selected for a movie for next week, or if he hasn't, or would like to select for some other week.
Clearly, he's going to select another Ben Stiller movie, like Walter Mitty or Dodgeball.
He has a movie. Are we ready? I think we're ready to find out what our next movie is. Does anybody, before we get Adam's selection, does anybody have any comments about Tropic Thunder they want to share before we move on?
I have a couple more.
Oh, please.
Going through some of the trivia on IMDb. First off, you have a lot of cameos. Obviously, Tobey Maguire.
Yep.
Yes, that was
Jennifer
funny.
Love Hewitt. You mentioned Lance Bass or Bass, depending on how you want to pronounce it. John Voight and Jason Bateman.
Yes.
Yeah.
You have a lot. There is a whole bunch of. There was a lot of criticism about the Simple Jack subplot, the movie within the movie. Basically, according to co-writer Ethan Cohen, the scenes were meant to satirize emotionally exploitative emotionally exploitative depictions of mental disability in the movies, such as Rain Man, Forrest Gump, I Am Sam, and Radio. So they were kind of making fun of the making fun of, I guess.
Right, and they got criticized for the making fun of.
Yeah.
Yes. Which is typically what happens to comedies.
Looks like you're carrying a club like Bam Bam.
Yes. See, I am actually pretending to be someone who is super strong.
Look at you. Night for Here in the comments does say, for me, because he corrected.
Yes, he did correct remove.
For me, Tom Cruise's Les Grossman stole the show. I agree.
Yes, he
I
did.
completely agree. I
Sounds like we're split. We're
I
pretty split on
like
that.
it. It was just went on way too long. It was.
I
really
love that kind of stuff.
I didn't like it, but I don't like Tom Cruise when he's being smug, and it felt very smug to me.
Give me a Les Grossman movie and I would watch it.
Well, yeah. Yes, you would.
And I'm not even going to get into the whole Scientology angle, but
No, but I've met Les Grossman. I mean, not obviously, but I know people.
You, sir, are no less Grossman.
I've met many people in different industries, not just Hollywood industry, in the car industry. I've met these. They're just so full of with the big fat hands. Not as good a dancer though. I will give credit. I thought he was a fantastic dancer.
I was over it. I was over it. By the time we got to the dancing parts of it, I was very much over it.
All right.
He could have jumped off the couch.
All right, Dave, did you have anything final?
I will say I enjoyed the movie. This is my second time seeing it. I enjoy it. I don't consider it a classic. You have to be in the right frame of mind to enjoy it. You have to be enough of a film fan to catch some of the references and enjoy it, which I'm not implying you aren't, Eric. I don't mean that at all.
No.
But I know there's people. I know there's people like I have friends at work who are not movie buffs, and if you sat them down and had them watch this, they would go, "I don't get it," because they don't have enough of a background in film. So you have to be the right audience. And I get that certain people are not going to like the over-the-top aspect of it. In fact, sometimes it went too far for me as well. But I still enjoyed it. I enjoyed the Hollywood spoofs. I enjoyed the movie trailers. I enjoyed the characterizations of all of the excesses of Hollywood. Danny McBride stole every scene he was in. And he's not usually my favorite comedic actor, but I thought every time he was on screen, I was laughing. His over-the-top, clueless special effects guy, all he does is blow stuff up pretty much, was a lot of fun.
It's pretty good. And this by far is my favorite Maria Menounos movie. So
okay, yes, we agree.
Oh, now I'm gonna have to research what other movie she's been in.
It doesn't matter.
It might matter.
So
wait, I take it back. She was in the Fantastic Four from 2005.
Oh, was that the first one with
That was when they rebooted it with the teenagers and they tried to bring it back. Oh yeah, it's terrible. But she was also in Sharknado 3. Oh hell no.
So that's not the Jessica Alba ones then?
No.
She was in Fan Four Stick.
Oh, she's done a lot. She has quite the wow.
Well,
I didn't realize.
She's always a newbie.
She is on Newbie. It's true. Absolutely.
So
she was in the Knight Rider reboot in 2009.
Oh my god.
Oh. You should not say that out loud on an unedited channel.
I might have to get a copy of that. I'll have to see.
Gross.
Yeah.
So I mean, as the person who picked this movie, I still have
Take us home, Scott.
think about all the super bad comedies that were out during the 2000s, and this is still probably one of the best ones that came out. Like you had all the parody of parody movies, like the end of the Scary Movie franchise, epic movie, disaster movie.
Yeah.
All these movies that were supposed to be parodies of these really famous films or combinations of all these really famous films. And this was kind of the one that actually did it in a very smart way, because it wasn't making fun of just the genre that it was satirizing. It was making fun of the kinds of people that do these sorts of movies and what they would actually really truly be like in a situation that demanded the kind of character that they were supposed to be in the film. Like, it's Three Amigos, but it's also just probably the last time we saw Hollywood make fun of itself over the last 16 years. They're kind of on a super serious, take ourselves seriously kind of streak.
Are you saying that this is better than You Don't Mess with the Zohan?
There are a lot of really bad movies that came out in the mid 2000s. Right?
I was just looking at the list of 2008 comedies. And there's a lot of bad ones.
But there are a lot of
Disguise, anybody?
We did watch Forgetting Sarah Marshall, which was a divisive movie, but which I think is an excellent movie.
I think I don't know if it would hit my list of top 20 movies from the 2000s as far as comedies go. As far as very particularly movies that were making fun of Hollywood, perhaps.
What's your top three comedies from the 2000s, Eric?
Oh boy! Ooh. Wow, no pressure here.
Oh, like 2008.
You can't think of any.
Goldmember came out. Austin Powers.
The Love Guru came out.
Goldmember, the third worst movie of Austin Powers. Really? That's what you're going with?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one. No, let me think if I can. Let me. I'm doing the quick Google search to find. Zoolander came out. Anchorman came out in the 2000s.
Anchorman's a solid choice.
Yeah. Napoleon Dynamite came out in the 2000s. Bruce Almighty. I'm kidding.
Bruce Almighty's not bad.
How about Evan Almighty?
Evan Almighty's bad.
TV was the place to be for comedy, guys.
Oh, we lost Dave.
No, that was Tom Cruise.
We've got it. Jay and Silent Bomb Strike Back.
You see my point?
No, there's so many cringy movies in the 2000s that I can't even, that I would put in this exact same category with this.
On the other hand, there's
film Ready to Rumble.
Oh, I don't know if I do remember Ready to Rumble.
Well, how about, I know that Eric won't have this on his list because he hates cringy movies, but Borat came out in 2006.
Oh,
It's nice.
I mean, do I need to talk about Jack Black's other movies? Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny.
That's not bad. I enjoy Tenacious
that
D.
came out in the 2000s.
Oh, please.
Yeah. Here's Ready to Rumble. David Arquette.
Oh, see, mental midgets. They're
So
vying for an
not
Oscar.
Nacho Libre.
All right. Adam says Borat is great.
And there you go.
Don't pick
Borat.
Borat.
Again, Borat is a movie that if that's your kind of movie, Borat is hysterical.
That's why I'm telling him not to pick it, because I think it's not going to be that movie for about half the people who usually come on this show.
That is true.
Just the picture of Borat.
His movie.
Just the picture of Borat in that swimsuit alone, I cannot see without laughing.
The funniest thing to come from Borat was that time when they actually had a Kazakhstan medalist win a gold medal, and they accidentally played the theme from that movie.
Was so bizarre.
Kazakhstan is great. Sorry, Eric.
Adam has our movie for next week. He says it's a long movie, as long as that's okay. So
how long is long?
The Irishman, part 2. No, Adam, let us know what your movie is. Let us know what you're putting out there.
Type it in.
Lawrence of Arabia.
We are
Or
ready
if
to
you want to
find
make
out.
a surprise message, one of us on Facebook, and we can bring it up. But I think you probably want to take it in.
Continuing the theme of blackface from this week, Lawrence of Arabia.
I don't think.
I thought you were going to say Holiday Inn.
Oh,
What History of the World part?
So it's just under
1.
3 hours. I think it's the
how about name me a Mel Brooks movie where he's a supporting character?
There it is, ladies and gentlemen.
Oppenheimer. There
Wow.
Another Robert Downey Jr. film. Is Oppenheimer out there yet?
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah, it's on Prime.
That's what I'm checking. Yeah.
That is
Oh, it's
on
Prime. There
that
you
is
go.
on Amazon Prime. Look at there. There we go. And on Apple TV for rent.
Oppenheimer.
Great. Can't
Wow.
wait for the name drops on this one.
Wow, I'm a little nervous about that. That's awesome.
For all you physicists out there,
We tried to watch Oppenheimer, and about 20 minutes in, we turned it off.
wow.
Really?
We weren't in a good place. We'll see. We're gonna try again. We've been meaning to try again, so I think we go for it. That's awesome. So there you go, Oppenheimer. And just for that, I'm gonna pick the Barbie movie sometime. So get ready. But we're gonna watch Oppenheimer streaming on Amazon Prime. So we'll be talking about that. Wow, that's a big step from Tropic Thunder.
But in all honesty, it's still the same story as Lawrence of Arabia.
I think it's the same story as The Three Amigos. I'm pretty sure.
There's really only
All
one
movies. It's
Yeah.
the three.
There's
amigos.
only 2 bombs, Eric, not 3.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Nice,
Nice.
nice.
All right. So now
Batman and Little Boy.
we're gonna shift gears and go to recommendations. I was gonna pick a theme for recommendations, but I didn't find one. So there you go. All right. It's time for you to share your recommendations. Things you've seen, relatively recently that you would recommend to a friend that they should check out. Movies, TV, anything.
There you go. Put a little background in there.
Okay.
Letters from Iwo Jima.
So does anybody have, and this goes for people in the comments as well, anything that you've watched recently, in the past month or 2 or 3 that you would recommend for people to check out?
I have one.
What's your
Even
watch?
since last Wednesday, perhaps.
I have one,
Ooh.
but I will start out by saying it will not be for everyone because
Oh boy.
Well, I absolutely, it is the most bingeable show I have seen in years. I could not stop watching it, but I guarantee you there are people listening into this that would find it so slow and would be bored to tears by it.
Oh no.
And I could not look away from the screen. It's from Apple TV, Slow Horses.
Oh, I
If
started
you-
watching that. I could look away, but yes, I get your point.
If you are into thrillers, if you're into spy thrillers specifically, and not James Bond over the top, there's constant gunfire spy thrillers, but Tinker Tailor Soldier Spy, John le Carre style spy thrillers where there's suspense and there's mystery and there's backstabbing and there's backroom politics. You will love this. They've done 3 seasons. They're currently doing the 4th season.
I'm really sorry, Dave. When you said slow horses and spies, I imagine a bunch of horses in ski masks trying to sneak around a city at night.
It's actually the title is basically a pun. The conceit is that there's this, there's Bletchley Park. They have the where all the MI5 people work, and then if you screw up an operation, if you're a total screw up, you get transferred to Slough House, which is run by Gary Oldman, who, again, one of the reasons I love this movie is TV show. I love Gary Oldman. I think he's brilliant. And so it's Slough House became Slow Horses. These are the agents who can't quite cut it. But I just absolutely love it.
I saw it.
I stayed up way too late a couple of nights because I was going to watch 1 or 2 episodes, and I could not stop binging it.
Wow. How many seasons has it been?
It's 3 seasons, 6 episodes each about 45 minutes.
No, that's
so
not
we're really
bad.
only talking about 4.5 hours per season. It's been picked up for a 5th season that hasn't started filming yet, as far as I know. But they just have 1 episode into the 4th season right now.
Does it star anybody that
other than Gary Oldman? No.
Okay.
Gary Youngman.
Yeah, Henny Youngman.
Henny Youngman and Gary Oldman.
Yes, exactly.
Very nice. That's
Pick
awesome.
my actor,
Slow
please.
Horses on Apple
And their
TV.
brother, Jerry Attrick.
Adam says he went and saw the new Beetlejuice on Saturday night. And if you like the original, you'll love this one. If you were meh on the original, you'll probably feel the same way.
Michael Keaton's changing his name.
Michael Keaton Douglas.
Yes.
How about
He
that?
actually never changed his name. He's still been Michael Douglas his whole life.
Well, ironically, Carmen Electra just officially changed her name to Carmen Electra.
Wow.
After all these years, she had legally been her original name. She just changed it. Yeah.
Well, I have not seen the new Beetlejuice yet, but I
want to go see
it's
it.
been getting very good talk. Yeah.
It looks like it's shot a lot more like the original movie was. They're not going too overboard, and they're trying to keep it a bit more practical.
Well, that's what Keaton was saying in an interview, that one of the reasons he was willing to sign on board to it was because Burton had agreed, and they were on the same page, that they want the old school look of the original Beetlejuice with almost no CGI, almost all practical effects.
Oh, wow.
And yeah.
I mean, Michael Keaton is 73 years old, and he's amazing. I mean,
Mr. Mom.
Dang.
It's because he played the founder, and he's been eating all those burgers. All the preservatives are keeping him okay.
He is one of those guys with an incredibly varied career.
Yeah.
From sort of, family comedies like Mr. Mom to Batman to Birdman.
Johnny Dangerously.
Yeah.
Oh, he's my hero.
He was in The Flash too.
He started as a stand-up comic in Pittsburgh.
He did Dope Sick recently.
Yeah.
So yeah, 73.
I freaking loved him in Spotlight.
He just turned 73 4 days ago. So happy birthday to Michael Keaton.
Still shows up in Pittsburgh to see a few Pirate games every year.
Night is Here recommends Django Unchained, which is an awesome movie. I haven't seen that for a while, but that's a great recommendation right there.
That is a wild.
I don't know if that's currently streaming anywhere, but definitely
Tarantino is his own special genre.
Yeah, I'm a fan. That kind of gore and grossness I can get into. I'll watch Kill Bill all day long. I'm all about that.
Well, there's women in that movie.
That's the difference, huh?
That it doesn't hurt.
Anybody watch anything else? Anything streaming on YouTube since Wednesday? Anyone watch anything?
I saw something on Wednesday. Actually, I've seen it twice, and I saw it several times before. It's called The Menu.
That was from Seth Rogen, from Seth Meyers' writer stuff. Yeah.
That honestly, The Menu is one of my absolute favorite movies. I love that so much.
Yeah. And when you get over the little holes, the little choices that they make that kind of don't make sense, it's actually really quite good. And we need more movies like that. But yeah, speaking of which, yes, there's an amazing thing that came out on Wednesday on YouTube.
Now, you can only have one recommendation a week, Scott. For us, no, good. You can.
I mean, I think I have to let Dan talk about it because we saw it together several times. We loved it.
Over and over and over while you were editing it.
I don't think we need to talk about it, Scott. You do. I don't need to talk about it.
Well, if you guys like good old-fashioned comedy, you like ducks, you like people with really weird medical conditions, and if you like going on diets in more ways than one, you should check out Dan's brand new special on YouTube. It's called Comedy Special.
Now, here's the interesting thing. 13,600 views, which is 13.6 more than usual.
That's awesome. That is awesome. So for anybody who's just listening and not watching this, our own Dan Rosenberg has a comedy special available for free on YouTube. It's like 40 minutes long. It's family comedy. I mean, this is something you can grab the kids around for a good chortle. Chortle? Yeah, sure. It's absolutely fabulous, fun for the whole family. And
especially the horseradish.
And it's got so many it's just super fun, and it's doing very well on YouTube. So congratulations, of course, to Dan and the success of Comedy Special.
If you just go to danrosenberg.com, it's right there, front page. You can find.
I mean, it's almost my success too. But it is
almost.
Scott was our director and our editor, and made miracles because
believe me, we didn't talk about the director of Tropic Thunder. Is like nobody really cares.
When you get someone to make you a caricature, Scott, so we can identify your profile in about 3 strokes, the way Hitch did, then you'll be this.
There it is. That's true.
You work on these.
Yeah. Do you have a recommendation beyond your own shilling of your own comedy special?
I mean, I said that on you. Amanda's on Prime right now. We're talking about Dan. I'm sorry.
Oh, me?
Your comedy special.
I watch Family Guy, and I watch Scott eating noodles. That's my second favorite show.
Oh, no.
I thought that was a
Family Guy is so freaking good, but also Only Murders in the Building, which I get to watch tonight in 2 hours.
Which Dave recommended that last week.
I know. This is a new episode.
Is this season 4?
I believe it's season 4.
This is season 4.
Yes.
And
Family Guy, 22 seasons of Family Guy.
Yes.
Streaming on Hulu.
Which isn't even holding a candle to The Simpsons. But anyway.
True.
So also Martin Short and Meryl Streep, who are on this show together, there were rumors that they were a couple, and it turns out they actually are, it looks like. They have fallen for each other.
Well, how about that? Love is in the air.
Well, people of Martin Short's status are in short supply.
Wow. And there you go. Hey, for my recommendation, we watched the original, and the sequel came out just a little while ago, and nobody actually came around and said whether they thought it was great. I got a chance to watch Inside Out 2. Which I think is actually really great. And I think totally, if you're, again, sort of like Adam said about Beetlejuice, if you enjoyed the first movie at all, Inside Out 2 picks up and is a solid sequel. Unlike
it is not as good as the original, but it doesn't come far behind.
No, they've already got a lot of universe stuff set up, but it's what I liked about it is that it doesn't just take the exact same path as the original. It's its own movie. I felt like I enjoyed Incredibles 2, but I felt like it was just like, hey, somebody read the script for Incredibles 1. It's like, I'm just going to rewrite this a little bit.
Monsters University was another disappointing sequel.
If they had actually rewritten the Incredibles 1 as Incredibles 2, it would have been a good movie.
But no, he stayed at home this time. He stayed at home and was jealous this time. No, Inside Out 2, very enjoyable. Some of the cast, wasn't available to come back and fulfill their.
Well, it wasn't not available. They were saving money. They were the two members who were not there both tried to hold out for more money, and they went no.
And honestly, you don't miss them at all.
You really don't. Well,
No,
Tony Hale
not
does a
even a
very
little
solid
bit.
job, and I didn't really know the actress who took the Mindy Kaling part, but she was fine.
Oh yeah, she was totally fine. It did not. It definitely is worth watching and should be available on a streaming service later this month. People are predicting. So,
and you know which streaming service?
Probably, most likely, it's gonna be on.
Oh,
Tubi.
it's certain.
No.
It's gonna be on Tubi. Absolutely,
it'll definitely be on Tubi. Adam did not enjoy Inside Out, so no, that's not for you. But for those people who did, check out Inside Out 2 whenever you can, because I think you'll get a kick out of that.
We are in the movie doldrums now. The summer movies are pretty much over. Deadpool and Wolverine. Yes, it's a stand-up comedy movie. That was sort of the last big blockbuster of the summer. And we now are sort of in the doldrums before the holiday movies start coming out around Thanksgiving time.
This is very true, but you can always go back for Deadpool and Wolverine. That's still playing.
or Deadpan and
Wolverine and Wolverine. Yeah.
Oh, and Adam wants us to end the show on a good note, or a sad note. I mean, James Earl Jones passed away.
But did he finish doing work on Mustafa? Did he?
I had a story about James Earl Jones in an indirect way. When I was working for a company in the late 90s, probably, we had this was in the early days of a lot of email services, a lot of public email services. And first time I had a chance to set up on my computer at work a custom notification sound when I received an email. And I got the clip of James Earl Jones saying, "This is CNN." And that was my mail notification sound. Well, the funny thing is my boss would sometimes work late at night.
Oh no!
And he'd be sitting in his office, and he'd just hear all of a sudden hear this voice out. What was that? And he'd go out, and there's nobody there. And he'd go back in his office, sit down. Like 20 minutes later, and finally, he mentioned something. We figured out what it was, and he made me change my sound.
You're like, don't you say I'm working around the clock here?
Go to Costanza.
That's fine.
Well, we're very sad to hear about James Earl Jones, and obviously,
I'm going to say something morbid now. Who are the next two? Because it's always three.
I think it's more than three. It's just a matter of who you identify with.
Well, overall, yes, but usually three pretty big level people. So there should be two more, sadly, in the next.
I don't think we need to sit here and predict.
Okay.
Dick Van Dyke.
So you're saying the next movie we should pick is the Deadpool with Clint Eastwood?
Yes.
Whoever plays the Deadpool.
Well, Dick Van Dyke's only worth like 1 point. I mean, he's like 99.
So you have to pick people in their 90s, like
long
Earl
shot.
Jones. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not going there.
Corey Feldman. All right, I'm sorry.
I did see a cartoon. Someone was scrolling somewhere, and someone had posted one of the old Far Side cartoons. It was clearly showing an almost Jetsons-like future with flying cars and all this stuff. And there was one building in the middle, and it just said, "Now appearing George Burns."
Let's see, who else does Eric like? Nicole Kidman.
Hey, don't you talk about Maria Menounos.
Well, Mickey Dolenz is the last survivors.
Oh, hey now.
I do love the fact that one final thing. It's not a movie, but I went and saw Cheap Trick, Journey, and Def Leppard in concert. If they come to your town, go see them. What an amazing show. All three bands have been around over 50 years.
And really, at least Cheap Trick is mostly the star lineup.
They're 3 of the 4 original people.
Yes.
Journey is 1.
Def Leppard, I think, is a decent number of them as well.
Yeah, they've got the one-armed drummer.
It's really only Journey that's sort of a shadow of its former self.
Well, when Journey was doing its hits, it was Jonathan Cain, Neil Schon, and Steve Perry.
Right.
And Neil Schon and Jonathan Cain are still there. So you've got 2/3 of the originals from that era.
Missing the voice is hard.
Arnell is amazing. He really, if you close your eyes, you think it's Steve Perry.
You think Arnell's amazing. How about Shields?
Wow. All right.
Wow, we're scraping the barrel now. Okay, so this is how this works. We will be back next Monday night live. So you can join us live at EriDanLive.com and join in the conversation. Or you can just watch at EriDanShow.com and click subscribe, ring the bell, do the thing.
There's merch. EriDanShop.com has the merch.
We're going to get some new merch in there eventually. That's coming hopefully soon. I have no idea.
Are we going to have any Michael Scott jokes next week? Like Oppenheimer?
I barely knew her.
Barely knew her. Heimer.
If you're not white, old, and have your hair still, we'd love to have you on the show.
That's right. Next week. We hope you can join us next week. We would love to have you with us. And
Adam will be live on location in Indianapolis. Actually, I'm in Los Angeles next week. I don't know if I'll be on or not.
Oh my goodness!
I think I land.
This is off the air conversation.
I think I land by then.
Nobody wants to listen to this.
You can edit this out, Eric. It's fine.
Who edits?
Edits, please.
I do. And cut.
We can't afford you, Scott.
No one can afford me.
What was that, Scott?
I said cut.